2014 Honda Civic LX. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and for today's generation of compact cars is a special little cupcake that has been around since the dawn of the early 1970s and has evolved into 10 generations of bargain basement standard ways to take over the minds and souls of millennials and good old grandmother. This is a 2014 Honda Civic LX, and let's just get this right off the chest here. This 9th generation Civic is a far cry from its early ancestors that make up the SBs, SLs, AGs, EDs, EGs, EKs, EMs, and FDs that make up the wonderfully exciting universe of USDM, JDM car families that exist in Honda Carland. The engine in this car, for example, is the R18A1 engine, which is some aluminum block-headed single jingle with 16 valves, 4 cylinders, and some intelligent interpretation of a cheesy acronym for variable valve timing and lift electronic control. Vanos, VVT, VVTI, VVL, VCT, CVVT, multi-air, blah 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 blah. I mean, those are just a few other types of basic acronyms to describe their versions of variable valve timing, but no, VTEC, a 4-letter dick-throbbing disturbance in the world of internet subreddits and occasional tweets from roid rumpers reminiscing about throttle cables snapping into stoichiometric ratios so high that this 4 cylinders revolutionized into a 9,000 RPM of an Atkinson cycle-swapping low probes that make this engine sing the final words of a Japanese kamikaze pilot as he descends into the air and fuel combination of magical unicorns transmitting power into some colon vaginal transmission. And oh, that's got ugly a little too quickly, but we'll get back to that later. Anyways, 2014 Honda Civic LX. This is a 9th generation Honda Civic FB-LX from model year 2014. I don't know the chassis code to this car because learning all of the chassis codes on display from Honda Motor Company Limited sounds like the kind of task one would do if you were some middle-class accounting manager for a company that got its start by making machines of two-wheeled origin. Might be another story for another day. So this car has a 1.8-liter 4-cylinder engine and is coupled to a continuously variable transmission, or CVT as most people say. If you are firmly new to car reviews, I personally loathe these kinds of automatic transmissions. Yeah, they give you an infinite number of gear ratios and shift points, but it's just a life-sucking, soulless rod and cone belt-looped power inverter that's about as enjoyable to drive as a scooter. I know. You can do cool tricks and backflips into the local ram trance down by the bay, but you can't do things that cars can do and vice versa. And what this car does well is just serve as a means of reliable, low-maintenance transportation that's good on gas and is pretty simple in interior and exterior perspectives. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that in our world of testosterone-driven research and development into unnatural Starbucks coffee addictions, because it's 2014 and what else is an early 20s college student going to spend more time on? Doing homework and wearing headphones to avoid inopportune conversations with members of the same species. 2014 Honda Civic LX. It's a car for the kind of person who literally ain't about that drama-filled bullshit, and if they desire anything in life, it's just to have a reliable relationship with the likes of anything to do with the creative worlds of a brain's exoskeleton. Whether it take the form into a human, machine, or inanimate object, because as humans, we seek after objects that provide comfort and belonging, and even if it's something that inspires a sort of confidence one exudes when things finally go their way after dealing with another round of stress and anxiety, this is your courier service. Like, you just had a long day at work and you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired of communicating with other homo sapiens, so once the clock is done tickling at your 9-to-5 living hell, you retreat into your 2,800-pound spaceship, and as you turn the key into this fighter jet style cockpit and peer into the intelligent multi-informational display, all is well in the world again, because your body is sitting in cloth seats and surrounded by questionably quality materials and given a name meaning of or relating to a citizen, a city, citizenship, or civil affairs. Civic. The official car for your lovable social justice warriors that blow up more Facebook discussions than any meme could even attempt to portray any better. The most amazing attribute about this car is its malleability and the plethora of combinations you can get the Civic nameplate in. Trim levels ranging from DX, LX, EX, and EXL, transmissions from slush boxes to manuals to CVTs. I mean, if you opt in for a couple more checkboxes, you can get the Civic Si, which has the K20 engine making around 200 horsepower and has real VTEC, not that intelligent crapshoot to change the lobe duration of my significant other's rabbit foot vibrator. 2014 Honda Civic LX. Powered by 143 My Little Ponies and 128 foot-pounds of graphite that leaves the tip of an undergrad's pencil after accumulating more student loan debt in one semester to purchase this exact same car. If you're interested in buying one of these, just Google this car and I'm sure you can find one in the subterranean $20,000 range. Even an SI version can be had for that kind of money too, but just play your kids right, kiddo. But I am not not here to tell you about all those annoying talking points that Sean Hannity spews out on 95.5 FM and AM 750 WSB TV in Atlanta. No. We are gathered here today in the Sanctuary of Jay for a civics lesson on meliorism. Meliorism is the belief that the world gets better, the belief that humans can improve the world. Any AP students listening to this, get those pens and papers out and start writing down this concept that will have your English teacher so lit, she will give everybody an A+. Meliorism is related to this car in such a way that it really isn't hard to see how much love and passion goes into this global interpretation of Citizen Kane. I mean, let's just look at past generation Civics. How many of those older Civics do you see with at least one modification to their Japanese micro machine? Whether it's stickers, or Bomex body kits, or fake wheels, or LED lights, or I love my Honda, or VTEC, holy shit, getting a little excited there, guys, but anyways, I hope you see where I'm getting here. The Honda Civic, in its most basic form, is a platform of more untapped potential that manages to be so conservative and simple, but yet so many things are so malleable about it that it's hard to put into perspective what a perfect Civic would and could look like. I mean, for starters, there are more than 16.5 million Civics that have been sold since 1972, and the only car that surpasses that in the same compact class is a Toyota Corolla, but we will hear more about that soon. But anywho, this idea that you believe humans can improve the world has a strong correlation to the Civic. In the universe of the automobile, modifying your car is a choice that is filled with emotions such as ebullience and scintilla that fuels the firing order of neurons and dopamine into a different outlook on what your well-engineered people mover should look like. Even though the Civic is moderately conservative in styling, there are always ways of making its looks more polarizing, like how makeup is used by women to block out imperfections that they are overly conscious about. Neutral just isn't enough. No, let's add some more plastic surgery to the mix. Not even the chords of Umbrella Beach can stop the ticklish predilection of a chariot on four wheels being transformed into the bastard child of an art major's triple manifesto. But what's wrong with modifying your Honda Civic? Well, nothing honestly, but once you start seeing unnecessary grapefruit cannons as your exhaust danger to manifold, and body paint color selections so loud that Snoop Dogg wouldn't even take a hit of that, or underglow neon kits that remind you of late 90s and early 2000s Civics, but guys, it's 2017, and Paul Walker is resting in peace, and he doesn't even appreciate the kind of senseless modifications done to these Econoboxes. Like, at what point did you begin to think that it was okay to slam a Civic and roll my fenders and fit wheels with dishes so deep Dwayne Johnson couldn't even excrement into them? Dear Honda fanboys, since it has been statistically proven that 1 in 4 Americans has a type of mental disorder, I'm here to help you cope with your anxiety-filled universe and your nonsensical decisions to destroying your precious rice burners. What exactly is the purpose of stancing your Honda Civic to a point where driving over a speed bump is a task that is so involved that your significant other doesn't even have the time or patience to sit through that bullshit, so halfway through your calamity, she gets out of the car and proceeds to hitchhike with a bro-dozer. Oh man, rolling molly, rolling molly, rolling molly, rolling coal, rolling coal, rolling coal. Howdy, missy, wanna see my snake in the boat? 2014 Honda Civic LX. If you stance this car and the previous interaction occurs in your point of view, then congratulations, dumbass. The only thing you've established that it doesn't matter if your girl is low or high, she ends up still riding like dog shit. For the record, you're more likely to see older generation Civic stance as opposed to this generation Civic because this car is only 3 years old, and the sort of aftermarket thought that goes into newborns from 2014 results in episodes of Dr. Phil and Teen Mom Season 2 that falsely portrayed the true stories of human interactions. The fact that we live in a world where human interactions are portrayed as petty, unreliable, repulsive, or even revolting is just absolutely astonishing to be an exact hypocrite of. Whatever sort of truth, though, that people find in the harrowing deaths of Larry the Bird's life diary seems to be a mystery, but in a world where genuine human compassion and loyalty is so rare to find in this information-overloaded, self-depriving antisocial media industrial complex that makes up our existence, that search for the truth should never stop. As humans, it is virtually impossible to learn everything about everything because at that point in enlightenment, what else would be considered fun to learn about anymore? But even if you can't master the most simplest forms of interaction in one way or another, and believe by doing those skills it will propel you into a world of enlightenment and nirvana, then the concept of meliorism becomes an infinite truth. Whether it's telling your best friend to just cut it off with their ex, or asking how many fingers am I holding up after passing out at cookout, or just being a friend to someone in need, it's those things that make life a gift, and that's why we call it the present. So cheer it on, Honda Civic. There's a new type of R coming soon, and man, we've been waiting a long ass time for it. 2014 Honda Civic LX, a chariot to the road trip caravan in our way across America, and somehow we ended up in Texas. The end.